Yes, people, right now we're on The Guardian. So, this is an article by Zack Polanski, the leader of the Green Party, and he talks about mocking teeth. Now, you might be thinking, what is going on here? Now, there have been some attacks on Zack Polanski, and some of them have been at a very low level, describing his facial features. Now, some of you may not have heard of Zack Polanski. He's the current leader of the Green Party. He's only been leader for about a couple of months, and in that time, he's been able to basically double the membership of the Green Party. So he's done exceptionally well for a political newcomer, although he was actually elected on the London Assembly and he had a seat there. He's not an MP right now, Member of Parliament in Britain, but he's on the London Assembly. And the fact is that he was elected as a leader by an overwhelming, thumping majority of Green Party members. And in that time, he's been espousing his policies and his beliefs and his political beliefs and left wing politics and so on. And some of the right wing media has come after him and they've used personal attacks as a medium to discredit him. So let's see what he's saying here. So he says here, since winning the Green Party leadership, our party has risen in the polls and membership is surging. So he's been listening closely to what people are saying when they stop him in the street. So that is kind of like community organizing. So you might be aware of community organizing in regards to grassroots empowerment and methodology used effectively in America by the likes of Barack Obama and others. Now, meeting people in the street, listening to them, speaking to them, communicating with them are different mediums of community organizing. And it is something that's quite effective when done in the right way. Obviously, as a professional community organizer myself, I understand, in the past when I've done this type of work, how these things work. So building trust, respect, and relationships is important. Now, the majority of people have been supportive, he says, and respectful when he meets them and talks to them. He even filmed in Clacton. Now, some of you might be familiar with the word Clacton. It's an area down south in the UK in England. And actually, the MP for Clacton is none other than Nigel Farage, the leader of the Reform Party right now, and one of the populist figures in the UK. And he's even been there talking to people, listening to what they're saying and so on, sharing their concerns, and even talking about Farage's policies. So that type of reception in the street differs dramatically, he says, from how my leadership has been when it comes to, tackling the media. So in a democracy, he says, I should expect a challenge. He's not one to shy away from debate, but the reaction has gone far beyond good faith. So Polanski goes on to say he's been the target of relentless nastiness, ranging from crass insults about his appearance to other elements around his politics and so on. So yeah, so some people have been questioning him around his previous hypnotherapy kind of professional life. They've been making fun and having digs of what he said in regards to hypnotherapy and the enlargement of women's body parts, but he has explained that on multiple occasions. And some people have gone even lower and started to cuss his teeth. I mean, I don't know who would bother to do something like that. Why would you even bother cussing someone's physical appearance? No one chooses how they look in life. They're born the way they are. So why would people want to comment on people's physical appearances as a medium of attack? To be honest, it shows how shallow they are. And on the other hand, it also shows that they haven't probably got much political argument, and that's why they're resulting to personal type of attacks. He says these attacks are often made on people with less power and privilege than me. So he's right. So you see bullying, obviously bullying in the media, bullying in education and so on. And he says, how must it feel for members of the public who find themselves in the public eye targeted by tabloids? So the bombardment has taken different forms, according to him. Um, Different kinds of categories in terms of, like I said, talking about his past, his previous uh, profession as a hypnotherapist, and other things as well around Green Party policies, for example, making drugs legal, environmental policies, taxing the ultra wealthy, and so on. So he says it's clear to him that the sheer number of attacks and their increasingly wild nature, product of political and media establishment rattled by his party's fast growth and popularity, his charisma, and the way he's kind of like attracting young people, Gen Z especially, to his politics. So he says here, let's start with my past, which has come under scrutiny by previous articles. So he's talked about the hypnosis with women's body parts and so on. He's explained that, um, previously in interviews and so on, because like that's one of the attack lines that some of the presenters have used against him. He also talks about, other thing that gets lots of mention in previous membership of the Liberal Democrats. So he used to be a Liberal Democrat before he became a Green Party member. He probably felt the Green Party's policies aligned more better than the Liberal Dems. I remember being favourable towards the Liberal Democrats, but then in 2010, when they merged with the Conservative Party in a joint coalition, they talked about not raising the student tuition fees, and then when they got into power, they did the exact opposite. That really cheesed me off, and I lost trust in the Lib Dems at that time, many years ago. Okay, so it says here, but then there are also personal insults from various kind of individuals across right wing, media and so on. And a lot of the striking things here, it's increasingly absurd misrepresentation of his politics. He says recently a Tory peer on a radio show basically claimed that he was against wealth and growth, with basically is not true. He is, pro wealth and growth, but obviously he wants to challenge ultra high net worth individuals, the billionaires, the millionaires, and probably the zillionaires, and tax them more. Even the Chancellor for the Labour Party talked about an exit tax of 20% for rich, ultra high net worth individuals who leave the country, paying that upon their exit. So it's not just him, but other political parties are looking at wealth tax as well. So supporting a wealth tax has riled a lot of people, especially in the right wing media and also in the high echelons of the elite. Past weeks, he says he's had many interactions with journalists that have also been positive in contrast. Now, he says he's striking how often common sense policies are treated as if they are extreme. So he says here, from our plans to bring water into public ownership to supporting rent controls and an end to war on drugs, I follow the evidence from the UK's failures and examples from across the world of how things are done better. Okay, so he says nowhere is he more apparent when it comes to his views around genocide in Gaza. Obviously, he's talked about the issue happening there a lot as well. He has faced a lot of attacks as well, trying to defend Gaza and so on. And he's also looked at Zoran Mamdani. He's some comparisons there with the recent victory of Zoran Mamdani in New York and how he's doing his politics here in the UK. So it says here, when I was elected, I wanted the Green Party to replace Labour and basically be a progressive choice for people. One poll in late October puts ahead of Labour for the first time and suggested the Greens could take the seat of Holborn and St Pancras from Keir Starmer, which is very interesting because if you didn't know, Keir Starmer is actually the Prime Minister of the UK. Imagine the Greens upturning that seat in St Pancras and Holborn and ousting the Prime Minister. That would be something, wouldn't it? That's what smashing the stale old two-party politics and replacing Labour looks like. He says the bad news for those who attack me simply won't back down. Well, he looks like he's on his mission and he wants to do what he wants to do. And they can sound off about my teeth all they want, but the more I see them panic and the replacement of the politics of hate with the politics of hope, the more we know our movement is on the right track. So this is why I dubbed the Polanski effect, as the Green Party crossed 150,000 members and they picked up in popularity. And this individual, Zack Polanski, his charisma, his character, his personality is winning over hearts and minds, especially the younger people in the UK. And it's exciting times when it comes to the Green Party, and we'll see how things go. What do you think about Zack Polanski? Do let us know in the comment section. Right, people, we're currently on 3.7k subscribers. We want to get to 10k at least. So support the channel so we can produce more great content like this, more analysis for you when it comes to news, economy, business, precious metals, and politics, so we can bring you the latest. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Catch you in the next one.